And the Lord God took the man and put the man in the garden, that gave him two responsibilities: dress it and keep it. The woman that man marries is the woman that will help him dress it and keep it. Just like a man goes to marry a wife. Now the car helps me, takes me to anywhere I'm going to. Like when I came here, the car brought me here and all of that. But you know that if I don't listen to the noise the car is making, the car will break down. Now, if the man feels like he married a wife, just like that car, I can't bash the car on the wall because my life is involved in it. So I need to pamper the car because the car is taking care of me. That is how a man treats his wife.
But it is still you that will look for which one you want to chase. Prepare to honor, to love, to cherish, to possibly die for her like Christ died for the church.
So you need to teach the girl child, don't be violent, one, don't fight, and then don't be aggressive, either with your physicality or with your tongue. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, and you might know how you ought to answer every man. We should train our children equally to understand this balance.
Love is very necessary, but most importantly, respect.
Socialization is very, very important. It's one of the root causes when you are unappreciative, and it comes in different forms.
Number one, should be told the truth, because those of us who are married may have made mistakes. Tell the child how not to get his car by following God's ordained principles.
Hello and welcome to Ebenchekwa, the Safe Space podcast, where voices are amplified, perceptions change, and communities heal. And this is brought to you by the West Africa Broadcast and Media Academy, the WABMA's Media Development Foundation. Here, we try to create a space where we can have honest conversations and purposeful dialogue on issues that are important to us as individuals and as a society at large. So join us on this exciting journey as we delve into dialogues that are so significant for us, so relevant in our times, and we hope to inspire transformative actions. We hope to inspire in you, the viewer, the decision to contribute your quota in making the society better. And in today's episode, we will be talking about the topic, Love Without Violence, understanding and fostering respectful relationships within the cultural and faith context. And I'm joined here by Pastor Lenny and Pastor Frank Akoma. So thank you so much for joining us, sir. So I think that there is really no better person to, introduce yourself than yourself. So please, let's meet you and know you better, please.
Okay, my name is Pastor Lenny Jonathan. Describe is the writer. Okay. I am the editor of Diamond Flavor magazine, and I host a youth forum called Diamond Twinkers Club. I'm a writer, a prolific writer, and just like this topic is all about, I have written like 2 books on loving without regret, loving beyond emotions, and all of that. So I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you so much, Pastor Lenny. Yes, so thank you so much for joining us. And let's meet you, sir, Pastor
Frank. I am Pastor Frank Akoma, Executive Director, Christian Center for Community Development. A social worker, a general development social worker that is involved in counseling at different levels of the community, both in and outside the religious environment.
Thank you so much for joining us. And you've just seen that we have the very best of people to, deal with this conversation, do justice to it. And once again, you're welcome to the Safe Space podcast, where conversations are had, mindset shift, and transformative actions are, taken to build a better society. We'll just quickly get into this. And as I said, in this episode, we're looking at love without violence, building respectful relationships within faith and cultural context. And I would like to start with, by virtue of your profession, you've dealt with, people who are about to step into very significant phases of their life, which is marriage, as a marriage counselor, and also you've offered books in that regard. So we should start with,
In January alone, we saw in the news many things that, show that sexual and gender-based violence is embedded in this society, right? There are many harrowing stories on social media, and people are asking questions. People are, doubtful even of their own relationships that seem devoid of this, because you never know what will happen tomorrow to yours. So maybe we should start with the question of, in your experience as a marriage counselor, I'm sure you've met people who think that love cannot, but coexist with violence. Yeah, people who think that violence is a corrective measure, in quotes. Yeah, so how have you been able to deal with that? Yes.
Okay, quite pathetically, actually, a lot of people believe, like most guys, most men believe that women need to be controlled physically, and then most ladies have actually been brainwashed to accept that. A lady came to me and told me, oh, my fiancé, he beats me once in a while, and the more he beats me, the more I love him. I see, is something wrong with you? The more he beats her up, the more she loves him back, and all of that. And I begin to wonder. Then I went deep into why she feels that way, and I realized that, it's a perception that she grew up with.
Yeah.
A young lady I counseled about some few weeks back, she came to me and said, Pastor, it seems as if something is wrong with me. I seem to be destroying my relationship. I am actually engaged to a pastor, a young guy who is doing very fine. He loves me so much, but I don't know why I keep on creating trouble. I keep on banging the table on him. I keep on, trying to accuse him of infidelity without he's not doing anything. I keep on fighting him unnecessarily, and he'll be, the last time I did that, he started crying and all of that. Now I began to ask her questions, and I realized that she grew up in a family where she saw her father maltreat the mother. She saw her father live, a very promiscuous life, that some years after the father came home with a boy, whom he now claims to be his son, that they never knew about all this while. So now with all of that, phobia, implanted in her, she believes that she needs to control this man to ensure the man does not behave like her father. And then she's destroying that relationship and all of that. So a lot of people actually grow up in family. That's why I tell people that the family is the greatest education that children have. So I, as a marriage counselor and as a pastor, I want my children to grow up in my family, and see me as the first mentor they should look up to, the way I live, so that they will not grow up and have this wrong mentality about marriage, about violence, about inequality, and all of that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And in fact, you've just set the tone for an aspect of SGBV that is not, often talked about. So very often there is the assumption that when SGBV is mentioned, women are particularly the victims or solely the victims. But we've just seen how that sort of traumatic childhood can affect somebody to make the decision that they now become the abusers. Women are also the abusers and men are the victims. So yes, let's take that to you. How do you respond to the issue of men being victims in society? Of course, that's also an unpopular aspect of it, right? Sometimes you almost have to make a case for it because not many men are willing to come out. So what has been your experience with men who have been able to open up to you, and how do you address that from the male victim point of view?
Yeah, even when the men do not open up, you can always discern. You see, taking from psychology, that's stereotyping human beings. Yeah. You have the introverts and the extroverts. Okay. You have the masochists and the sadists. And these two classes, they played out so much in marriage, so saliently, so powerfully at the same time, that it will not take you long to notice where is coming from. Because even in conflict, we're talking about conflict. Conflicts have stages, and before they begin to call you, it has already exploded. So when I encounter such that have gone to explosive stage, I first of all want to discern what kind of a couple am I facing. What is the man? Is he an introvert? If he's an introvert, maybe I will hear more from the wife. Is man a sadist or a masochist? And everybody is a mixture of both. But the important thing is, how do we bring them to balance? And the problem again goes back to the foundation. I think marriage and love has been so misinterpreted in every culture and in every religion. A woman said, I am angry. I'm angry because my husband is a womanizer. And it's not even just because he's a womanizer, as if she would endure womanizing. Everybody wants to justify him or herself. But it's because he chases people I am more beautiful than. Who said you are more beautiful than all those women? Where did you go on fashion parade? Who is the judge? You're a judge. Yes. But I was thinking that they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So at a particular point in time, the man saw something more beautiful in whoever he is chasing, that is not in you at that particular point in time. Yeah. I'm not justifying him, or I'm not justifying him, but it is him that will say, I don't even know when he realizes, and we have to make him realize. But let us first of all agree, often the violence against men are not physical. It is very, very, very small when you find women beating their men, a woman beating the husband. No matter how huge the women are, the physique, the nurture has made
naturally that makes an imbalance in
nurture. Sorry, ma, I didn't want to go to that natural because I never saw real picture of Eve and Adam. And so I will not say nature.
Okay, but nurture,
yeah, because it is in human beings that will have again shaped the men to become more huge.
Okay. So you think it's a social construct that?
Yes. Okay. If you look at the animals, the males are smaller. Okay. And so they're now projecting themselves, getting prepared. I don't want this woman to kill me. But let me answer you.
Yes.
There's a quote that I often use, and no matter who brings the matter, it is by one Charles Spurgeon, a Middle Ages revivalist. He said, when a couple fall apart, and there always falls on both sides. Generally, he said, there's 16 ounces on one and 1 pound weight for the other. Unfortunately, in arithmetic, 16 ounces make 1 pound.
Yeah.
So you that is bringing the case.
Guilt is equal on
both sides. I must douse your feeling first. Calm down. Because your husband is chasing women that are less beautiful than you. It's not enough to break a marriage, because we have not come to physical violence, we have not come to economic violence, we have not come to threat to life. Once we become judgmental, we ourselves are already guilty.
Yeah, guilty of it. Yeah. That's a very interesting perspective, right? But also, some people would argue that, when you're looking at SGBV, there is also the emotional abuse part of it, which necessarily doesn't include hitting the person. I mean, you don't have to cut off the person's arm or burn the person or set the person on fire before you would have, committed that violence against it. And there is that sentiment that infidelity in itself is abuse. When somebody entrusts you with their body and, you are out there with people, doesn't matter whether they're more beautiful or, more uglier than you are. The fact that that you can no longer trust this person in this way is a sort of harassment to your, inner stability. So people would argue that it doesn't even have to get violent before it becomes an abuse, right? So in that context where women feel that there is clearly a case of, infidelity, what do you say to them?
Okay, before I come to that, when Pastor was talking, I remember I'm actually a consultant on birth order. Birth order is your position of birth in your family tree and how it influences your behavioral pattern. I use it to counsel people. Currently, about two couples that actually got separated lately that I counseled. Yeah. Their issues were based on birth order. A firstborn woman who, we have two types of firstborns. We have aggressive firstborn and compliant firstborn. And if I explain, you will understand better. But then we have a marriage between an aggressive firstborn wife and a lastborn husband. Now, the lastborn happens to be a pastor who is quiet, who doesn't want to touch his wife, while the firstborn aggressive wife is really an aggressive one. I've seen them. So the woman can actually leave the house, abandon their 1-year-old baby at home for the husband. And the husband is an executive in a very big company in the city. Now, the time he needs to go to church or as a Sunday school coordinator, the wife will abandon the child and left. Now, he will not be stranded. There was a day he actually drove to the church to see me with the baby. So look at now, we have a meeting of executives. I ought to have traveled to Aba for a meeting. Now, my wife abandoned the baby and left. One day I was to travel. He called me early in the morning and said, please, Pastor, where are you? There's trouble in my house. So what's the matter? I came. The wife have locked him out of the house. And the wife locks him out, and most times he comes back, in the evening, and he has to knock on the door. The neighbors everywhere have gotten used to that. Now the wife is the one that locks him out. The wife will leave him stand on the door and say, you're not going to anywhere. And then at the office, they are calling this man, waiting for him. The wife have locked him. One day, the man said, no, I have to call pastor. They called me, I came, I sat down. And I was talking for like 4 hours. This woman, the man was on his knees, begging her to keep quiet and listen to me. And the woman was busy talking. So you can imagine that. Now, if the woman goes out to talk, you will feel like, oh, the man is terrible, the man is that, but I saw it, I handled it. Now they have gone separate because the man could not control the woman. He can't beat this woman, so they have to go separate ways. Then this other one, also a typical aggressive firstborn wife. Now, she got to know me after they have separated and the man remarried. She told me, if I had met you and I understood the impact of birth order, I wouldn't have destroyed my marriage, because the woman was aggressive and the last born man was just very quiet. Like he talked about, some of them are just very calm. They don't want trouble. They are either sanguine or kind of melancholic and phlegmatics, and then they keep quiet that the other person is oppressing them and all of that. Now, we also have middle borns. Middle borns, one of their challenges could be communication problems. They like to avoid trouble. They absorb shock a lot. You will push them, they will keep shifting ground for you. They will keep tolerating you until one day, a woman called me one day that I should come, that her daughter want to kill her. When I went to the house, I noticed that the daughter broke bottle to stab the mother. And I sat all of them, then I began to explain to them using birth order concept. I found out that this lady was a typical middle born, and her mother kept abusing her. You're nothing, look at you, your mates are here. She kept on shifting. She was being pushed to the wall until she got to the wall. And there was no, it's like Robert Hooke would say, when the elastic limit is exceeded, the formation becomes constant. Right. She got to the elastic limit of her life and she broke bottle to stab the mother. Now there's what we call trigger. We have synthetic trigger, external trigger, and then internal trigger. Many cases of violence are being triggered. I was preaching on Sunday and I told them that most men may not know that they are capable of hitting a woman until they live in the same house with a nag, a super nag. There's a way a woman will propel you, talk to you, you hold yourself until you get to the elastic limit. And then there are so many external pressures that the man goes through. He comes home to get his relief, and he now meets an internal pressure. It becomes a Herculean task for him to manage. A time came where a lady came to tell me, she wants to get a divorce, and so she needed a pastor like me to probably give her a concise permission to go ahead and do that. What's the matter? My husband is a womanizer, and the man can have slept with more than 50 girls in this town, and anywhere she goes to. There are women who are struggling, her husband, claiming her husband as their boyfriends, Even one day in the school where she was, 2 other ladies were claiming her husband as their boyfriend, and she was like, wait, and this man gives them different names. So this one is saying, my husband, you say, no, it's my boyfriend, his name is Emeka. You say, no, it's not, it's his colleague. Until they now called, the head of the school now had to call 3 of them. So wait, call them and now call her husband. Oh God, please, something happened. Your wife is in serious pain. You need to, you have to look for an excuse that will make the man to come.
Make the decision to come. Yeah.
When the man now came into the office and saw the 3 ladies, he just bowed his head down. The man couldn't talk. Now that was the kind of situation I was handling. So it was obvious the man was that bad. But when they came and sat down, I realized it was the lady's fault. She pushed the man out. Number one, the lady was a typical virgin who was just born again in church there. And the man was actually a man whose foundation had been exposed to sexual promiscuity. Now, the man just said, okay, I want to get married to a good lady that will help me calm down and also manage my business. So we saw this beautiful sister who is also a graduate, so she can manage my business. Now, they got married. When the man came, the man did not touch her because the lady, at the first time, the lady just told him, no sex. Any kiss or sex or holding her hand, marriage is cancelled. The man said, no problem. So the man held himself. but was going outside, because even a day to their marriage, she saw a pack of condoms in the man's wardrobe, but the man claimed it's his friend's phone. So she kept quiet. Now they got married. This lady would deny the man sex. She wasn't giving this man sex. She only gives him sex for childbearing, and they had children. So the man didn't want to offend his wife. When he wants to touch her, she said, I'm tired. He will say, no problem. He will leave her, go out tomorrow and meet his girlfriends. Now he has been exposed to women that give him all kinds of sexual position styles here and there. When they come to his wife, the woman said, no, it must be missionary. Don't go here, don't do that, and all of that. So the man will endure whatever he gets from the wife, now goes out to enjoy what his own body needs and all of that. Why? Because he has been used to this. And I asked the woman, did you know that this man had a problem? One, he came from a family. We have what is called negative family pattern. The pattern in this man's family is that his father actually married 4 wives. His mother is a 50th, so that was a negative pattern. That sexual, promiscuity was already there. And then this man's elder ones, 2 of his sisters already have children out of wedlock. So you can see it's in the family. One of the brothers also had an HIV or something. It's in the pattern. Now, if you are going to marry somebody like this, you must brace up to solve that problem. Because what Bible meant by a helpmeet is that this man has a weakness. You're coming there to help him overcome the weakness. Now, the man has sexual weakness. A wife who understood this will come and say, okay, I'm here to help you and cut down this thing. 1, through prayer, and 1, through communication, quality time spending with you and giving you quality sex. But the woman did not give this man any of this. So the man...
But the question was the man communicative about...
The man, because I counseled 2 of them, the man will communicate, will tell the woman what she wants. And the woman will still tell the man. So the man don't want to push her, because to make it clearer, after I took time to talk to them and pray for them, counsel 2 of them, they knelt down, the man apologized to the wife, it's not going to happen again. I solved the prayer by God's grace, prayed for them, and as they left, that same night, my phone rang around 1 a.m. I picked on the woman. She was shouting, Pastor, please help me. You might want to kill me. I said, what is the matter? I feel like God, after all I've done for this people, the prayer, I gave them 3 days fasting and all of that. Now they are coming. What is the matter? What is the matter? She said, Pastor, my husband wants to kill me. I said, tell me, what is it? Is he beating me? She said, no. They have been asking me for sex since morning. I said, God. How many times? 3 times. I said, woman, what is wrong with you? You're asking me for sex. You're crying. Where are you now? I'm in the sitting room. Where is your husband? He's in the bedroom. I said, if you don't go back now to that bedroom and meet your husband, you send him out tomorrow and you'll be complaining. This man needs this thing. Give it to him and all of that. Now, there are times where the woman it will not be convenient for her. Communication comes in and understanding is being put in place, and 2 of them understand this issue. But then not when the man needs it because the body needs it and you are not sick, you don't have any menstrual cramp, there's nothing happening to you, and you just say no because you feel like a man should have sex once in a month, and then you deny the man. So most men who go out, majority of the men who sleep out, as I counsel them, 80% of the causes are from the wives who ignore their need, because women have so many issues. They have periods. When a woman is breastfeeding a child, her sex drive drops, because oxytocin that is secreted between the mommy and the child through the nipple actually suppresses the woman's estrogen that enhances sexual pleasure. Men don't have any of such. When a woman is pregnant, oxytocin impede on her sexual libido. When a woman is nursing a baby, now the time a baby is sucking her nipples, now the pleasure she gets from a man sucking her nipples, she gets the same from the baby. So she is relaxed. She feels like, oh, I'm okay, and she forgets that the man is there. The man has none of such. There's nothing that is like a safe period, or he's having his whatever. And what makes a man to want to have sex is actually when the spermatozoa, when the scutal sac is full of sperm, and when it's filled up, now there will be erection. He will want to release. And you know what? Men have period. Men have a time lag of 24 to 72 hours. Some men, when their own is emptied, by natural sex with their spouses, within 24 hours time, it is filled up again. Some 48 hours, some 72 hours, it is filled up again. And when it is filled up, they want to release. That's why a man can have erection every day, and it's normal. And that's what we call midlife crisis. And at the point of midlife crisis, when men get to that point from age 35 to age 42, the men need to be paid attention, or else their mind will go out, because their wife now pregnant and all of that. So now I will come to what the church has to do. That is where counseling and the teachings we do comes in. So what I'm talking about is that the men, nobody guarantee, like you said, now nobody is encouraging or giving any credence to infidelity. we must look at the fact that my father told me that when you tell the kite not to eat your little chick, you must tell the mother hen to keep the chicks inside. So you must balance it. How does it happen? How, when a woman is not there to pay her husband attention and all of that? And then I've handled one, the one I handled yesterday or so. Yesterday, the woman wants to leave the marriage, not because the man is beating her, not because the man is doing anything, but the man doesn't communicate with her. Now the man leaves her home and he works outside for like 2 weeks, 1 month. He doesn't talk to them at all. And she's in the hospital, she's sick. The man is not even asking her, how are you doing? Now you tell me, if a young boy somewhere now start asking her, hey baby girl, how are you doing? I miss you. And you're love. Oh, you went to the hospital. How are you? I'm coming to see you. The man, that young boy is now showing her the affection the husband is not showing her. You think that there will not be a connection between her and that? It will happen. And with time, they will want, it's not that she will just abandon the man and pay this young guy attention. Then the man will not complain infidelity. So we need to balance it. Let me pause here for now.
So, I mean, you've said so much, right? So there is clearly the question of, balance. We're human beings and biology dictates its own needs, right? And of course, with the way women are wired, as you've said, the phase of, childbearing,
breastfeeding, not pregnancy, and all of that.
So all of those periods, kind of work towards reducing, her libido. Whereas on the other hand, the man is not suffering from any of those things, and his drive is as good as it was from the very beginning, right? But you've also made the point, which is that communication is key. None of these things do not justify certain actions.
Sure.
Yeah. So as important as it is to acknowledge that these people had needs, real needs, right? It's also very important to take into consideration the fact that communicating those needs sets the template for settling whatever issue or dispute may arise out of that. Yes, but I think you would like to say something.
Yes. I appreciate the marvelous, wonderful contributions and experience he has already. And he arrived at a point. What do we do to tackle the problem at the root? I still talk about problem analysis. Where is it coming from? And we're talking today of a future, not a particular couple. And so we brought this to fair. How do we manage it? And he says something, what the church and the society need to do. I think the objective of marriage has been so misinterpreted. What does it not mean for man to be alone? More of it is communication, not copulation. Because one writer, Tikla Ruzer, she said, before you get into a relationship that can lead to marriage, ask yourself, what do you do with 23 vital hours? Because generally, not everybody, but generally, in a high percentage, you spend 1 hour on the average in the bed. And if the other 23 hours, you don't have common ground to hold you, man is still alone. And that can result in anything. Man is not supposed or cannot be alone. Even a woman can be alone. You just justify this from biology too. Woman can be alone, but man cannot be alone. And so when the man was not ready to marry, he wanted somebody who can manage his business. When unemployment is everywhere in the game. But if you want a business partner, which your wife automatically is, because for me there are 4 kinds of love. A marriage, like business, like partnership, like friendship, should be anchored on one. The filial, the sharing love. Like should attract like. But when you are A and you go for B in character manifestation, you are looking for trouble from the beginning. All right? What has a CED? Let me now use psychiatry. A man who cannot teach about that. Not to do intervention. Who not only say virgin.
Choice to go for people who would have clearly given him what.
So when the two of you are tired, you now decide, okay, what do we do? Do you even get tired? You get tired at the same time, then you sleep. Man is still not alone because they are sleeping together on the same bed. But this is one that's nurtured differently. And you are nurtured differently.
And you acknowledge that.
If such a man goes for a nymph or a nympho, okay, they can do it every day. They can forget going to work. They'll be praying for not coming to work. but there will be no problem, domestic problem. There will be no problem.
Quite. They won't be calling anybody to settle anything because they are built for it.
But not when you go for an entirely opposite character. The opposite this one is to be balanced, to create balance. The opposite man and woman is to create balance, not to turn the table.